السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد ومن يخرج من بيته مهاجرا إلى الله ورسوله ثم يدركه الموت فقد وقع أجره على الله صدق الله العظيم. Respected elders, brothers, mothers and sisters, as we are a couple of weeks into the month of Muharram, and as I have been promising, inshallah, that we would discuss for a few moments the beginning of the Islamic year and the basis or the reason why the Islamic year is based upon Hijrah, or the significance of Hijrah. In the time of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and perhaps prior to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam's nubuwah, his prophethood, there was no systematic order of the calendar and of telling time and the year. So the way they would determine time and dates is they would have significant events, victories, or other such events which were considered great, and they would base their calendar upon those events. So for example, there was the year of the elephants, the year when the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was under attack, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his house. So if something were to happen a few months before this event, or something happened a few months after this event, or a year after, 2 years after, and they would want to relate to it, they would say that this happened a year after the year of the elephants, or this happened 2 months after this event took place. And this was their way of determining time, and their calendar was based upon this. There was no formal calendar. This continued in the time of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. There was no formal calendar. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam with the Sahaba radiallahu anhu migrated from Makkah to Mukarramah to Madinah al-Munawwara. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam lived there for 10 years. After the demise of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was Khalifatul Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. There was no system in place. It was not until the time of Umar radiallahu anhu, and approximately 17 years after the Hijrah. 17 years after the Hijrah, Umar radiallahu anhu received a letter from one of his governors, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu. And he wrote to Amir al-Mu'mineen Umar radiallahu anhu, and he said, "O Amir al-Mu'mineen, we have received many letters from you. However, there are no dates on them. And it is difficult for us to determine which command of yours we should follow." So perhaps in one letter there is a command, do this, and there's another letter that comes thereafter, or we receive that letter before the other one, and it says do this, the complete opposite. Now we are confused and we are not sure which command of yours, O Amirul Mu'mineen, is the one that is binding upon us. Which command of yours do we follow? Because we don't know which letter was first, which one was second. So there has to be a system put in place through which we can determine time, and we can realize as well that this letter was sent first, this one was sent second, and this is the one that we need to follow. So Umar radiallahu anhu understood this, he realized the need for this, he gathered the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, his council, and those who were close to him, and he put forward this concern, and he said, this is the problem that we have. How can we solve this? So there were some who had accepted Islam after Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. They were Christians in the past, they were Jews in the past, they had converted or perhaps reverted to Islam, and they were aware of their calendar and their system. So they suggested, they said, we used to do this, or back home we used to do this, or in our culture we did this, and this was a way, or these are ways that we kept track of time. But there were always differences within the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, to the extent that suggestions came such as we would initiate the Islamic calendar, we will start the Islamic calendar from the birth of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And there was some disagreement amongst the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. Some suggested that perhaps we should start the Islamic calendar from the death of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And again, there was some disagreement. But then one such opinion came, and that opinion was, let us start the Islamic New Year, or the Islamic calendar, from the hijrah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, from the migration of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. And there was no difference of opinion. Sahaba radiallahu anhum agreed to this. And again, this is the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing happens by coincidence. Perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted you and I to reflect, as we reflected in the month of Hajj, upon the life of Ibrahim ala nabiyyina alayhi salatu wasalam and his family, perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liked for you and I to reflect upon the hijrah itself. The hijrah was in a sense, in a way, a turning point for the success of Islam. That is not to say that Islam would not have been successful. But when Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the hijrah, life somewhat became easier for the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, for Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, and they were able to focus on da'wah and tabligh. And after this hijrah, Islam started to spread and Islam started to flourish, and the numbers of Muslims started to increase. This was the beginning point of the turn of the rise of Islam. But this beginning point of this turn and this rise of Islam could not have been possible without the hijrah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum. And this is the point of reflection for you and I, my brothers and sisters. We read about the history and the story and seerah of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, but they are filled with lessons. They are filled with lessons. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum came to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and they said that the people of this particular group, they have stories and they have incidents, stories that they discuss for the past. Can we also have something like this? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals Surah to Yusuf in the Quran. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the surah off by saying, Inna nahnu naqussu alayka ahsan al-qasas. We are revealing to you the best of stories. The best of stories. But it's not just a fairy tale. It's not just a story that you will read at night and go to sleep and enjoy. Rather, in this incident, in this story, there are lessons for those who have intellect. They will take lessons from the story of Yusuf ala nabiyina alayhi salatu wasalam. Similarly, the incident of hijrah indeed was a great incident. The virtue of the hijrah and the muhajirin indeed is great. Indeed is great. There is no such virtue greater than the virtue of hijrah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam himself said that I would have loved to be from amongst the Ansar. I would have loved to be from amongst the Ansar had it not been for the hijrah. But because I have made the hijrah, I am classified as a muhajir. I will be from amongst the muhajirin. If this act were not there, I would classify myself, I would join the groups of the Ansar. Such was the level of hijrah and the maqam of hijrah. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum that perhaps Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven those who have made hijrah. Amr bin As radiallahu anh came to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and he said, O Nabi of Allah, extend your hand. I would like to pledge my allegiance to you, but I have a condition. Before I pledge my allegiance, I have a condition. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam asked, what is this condition? And he said, I would like for my sins to be forgiven. So Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam responded and he said, do you not know that Islam washes out the sins prior to Islam? When a person accepts Islam, anything he or she may have committed in the past, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive. Number one. Number two, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam said, do you not know, O Amr bin As radiallahu anh, that hijrah wipes out the sins of the past? And number three, Hajj. Three actions that Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam mentioned. That these three actions are so great that if a person does these actions, then the sins and the vices of the past are forgiven. One of them is hijrah. When it comes to imamah, the leading of the salah and the prayer, Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam had instructed from the sunnah, we understand that individual who is the most learned of the Quran will be the imam. That individual who has the most understanding of the Quran will be the imam. And if there are certain individuals who are equal in this regard, then that individual who was first in hijrah will have the right of imamah, and he will be the imam of the people. The person who made hijrah before everyone else. So there is great virtue in this hijrah. But again, my brothers and sisters, the lesson I would like for you and I to take home today. We like to be in our comfort zones. We like to stay within our comfort zones. If we are able to perform the salah within our comfort time, we will perform the salah. If we are driving, if it is not comfortable for us to stop on the side and perform the salah, we will wait till we get home. The time of salah will expire. But we will not stop on the side to perform salah. We will not stop at a gas station or a side street somewhere and perform wudu and perform the salah. Because we are too attached to our comfort zone. When it comes to dealings for our children, so long as our children are pleased with what we are telling them, we will tell them. But the moment they start to frown and they start to object a little bit, we will somewhat take a step back. Why? Again, because we are so used to attach to our comfort zone. My brothers and sisters, Sahaba radiallahu anhum and Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam left their comfort zones. This migration from Makkah al-Mukarramah to Madinah al-Munawwara was absolutely this. Everything they had was in Makkah al-Mukarramah. A few weeks ago I quoted the saying of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, while migrating, turned towards Makkah al-Mukarramah and he addressed Makkah, the city of Makkah, and he said, "Oh Makkah, I love you. I love you. I would love to stay here. Were it not for your people, I would not have left you." This was the hometown of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. Sahaba radiallahu anhu's heart was there. Their hearts were there. But they left their comfort zones for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They attained this virtue. Islam gained strength. Islam flourished and Islam grew because Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum left their comfort zones. My brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to migrate. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to leave our belongings behind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not asking us to leave our family and friends and kids behind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just asking you to fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way they ought to be fulfilled. So the next time we hear the adhan, the next time we are reminded that this is a time of salah, we will stop, we will pull over, we will make wudu, and we will perform salah in the time. We will not wait till we get home. We will not wait till we are comfortable. This great position, this great maqam, and this virtue was given to the Sahaba radiallahu anhum due to their sacrifice. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us also to make this sacrifice and allow us to fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the way they ought to be fulfilled. Jazakumullah wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. الحمد لله شاملة رأفته العامة رحمته الذي جاز عباده عن ذكرهم بذكره فقال تبارك وتعالى فاذكروني أذكركم ورغبهم في السؤال والدعاء بأمره فقال ادعوني أستجب لكم فأطبع المطيع والعاصي والداني والقاصي في رفع الحاجات والأماني بقوله فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله وسيد أنبيائه صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه خيرة أصفيائه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد، فإن ذكر الله تعالى ورفع الحاجات إليه تعالى أفضل عبادة تؤدى باللسان بعد تلاوة القرآن. فقد قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يقعد قوم يذكرون الله تعالى إلا حفتهم الملائكة وغشيتهم الرحمة ونزلت عليهم السكينة وذكرهم الله في من عنده. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام مثل الذي يذكر ربه والذي لا يذكر ربه مثل الحي والميت. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام الدعاء مخ العبادة. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام إن الدعاء ينفع مما نزل ومما لم ينزل فعليكم يا عباد الله بالدعاء. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام من لم يسأل الله يغضب عليه. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا الله ذكرا كثيرا وسبحوه بكرة وأصيلا. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد، فيا أيها الناس أوصيكم ونفسي أولا بتقوى الله والمواظبة على ذكر الله. ألا خير الكلام كلام الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى علي صلاة صلى الله عليه بها 10. واعلموا أن الله أمركم بأمر عظيم فبدأ بنفسه وثنى بملائكة قدسه وثلث بكم أيها المؤمنون فقال تبارك وتعالى مخبرا وآمرا: إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين، خصوصا على الخلفاء الراشدين المهديين أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان وعلي، وعلى سائر الصحابة والتابعين رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين، اللهم انصر من نصر الإسلام والمسلمين واجعلنا منهم، واخذل من خذل الإسلام والمسلمين ولا تجعلنا منهم ولا معهم. عباد الله رحمكم الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله تعالى يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم، ولذكر الله تعالى أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
سووا واعتدلوا سووا صفوفكم. Please make sure lines are straight, no gaps in between. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائما. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تلهكم أموالكم ولا أولادكم عن ذكر الله ومن يفعل ذلك فأولئك هم الخاسرون. وأنفقوا مما رزقناكم من قبل أن يأتي أحدكم الموت فيقول رب لولا أخرتني إلى أجل قريب فأصدق وأكن من الصالحين. ولن يؤخر الله نفسا إذا جاء أجلها والله خبير بما تعملون. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وبارك وسلم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وسكنهم في الجنة. اللهم اجعل قبورهم روضة من رياض الجنة ولا تجعله حفرة من حفر النار. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم وفقنا لما تحب وترضى واجعل آخرتنا خير من الأولى. اللهم إنا نسألك من كل خير ما سألك منه نبيك وحبيبك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، ونعوذ بك من كل شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك وحبيبك سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. وصلى الله تبارك وتعالى على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك.